when I was 20 years old and I got Gossip Girl, I was not mature enough to understand how to separate how I was seen with who I am. So I never got the chance to be an adult finding himself like outside of the public eye,
right,
and a lot of certain kinds of attention and scrutiny. I have learned how to have a more maybe detached or dispassionate relationship to the characters I'm playing, kind of almost maybe a bit late in the game, later than I would have liked, because I'm 37, about to be 38, and I feel like I'm just coming of age as an artist, dare I say an artist, you know? I have worked through that, and I don't find any really difficulty with it now. I started out initially thinking that I wasn't interested enough. Do I want to play this man for what now is 7 years? That this role has undoubtedly defined my 30s. You know, I did not anticipate it being as big as it is. It's really a huge
international phenomenon.
Yeah, and I'm really like, if I ever,
the story is incredible because it started on Lifetime, and then went away, and then the Netflix algorithm.
They knew it was going to be.
They were just like, they were like, yep, that show.
Yeah,
and they just know they're so good at that.
Yeah, it's data-based. They just knew all the factors. They knew it was going to get canceled on Lifetime. They knew it wouldn't ultimately be delivered the way it needed to be on Lifetime.
Yeah,
they then basically were able to snatch it up for a low price and just have this built-in hit for themselves. You can't help but have it define you somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, just
will always be defined by Dwight Schrute,
right?
No matter what I do, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But he's not a psycho killer. He's a beet farmer.
Sure. He's psycho though. I mean, isn't he a little bit psycho?
He has psychotic tendencies used for comedy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe Joe should open a beet farm.
I think honestly, I think what saves this show from being insufferable is comedy. I think our show...
Right, the dark comedy.
I think our show... I've never played him as like a clinical portrait of a serial killer at all. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't even think what defines him most is being a serial killer. I think the actual psychological profile of a more, shall we say, traditional serial killer isn't so directly related to this other stuff about, like, toxic conceptions of love and romance. He's really almost more like a love addict with violent, lethal tendencies.
I love
you know
that.
What I mean?
Yeah.
And the show is more about love than it is about murder. Murder is just kind of like a color in the palette.
Yeah.
As it is increasingly in more and more television shows, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And just have this conversation with Greg Berlanti, the co-creator of the show, and, a prolific television producer. And so in that conversation, he, in passing, called it a love story. Now, anybody who's not seen the show, or anybody who has seen the show but maybe has forgotten, in the first episode, there's never a gracious way to say it. He masturbates outside of her window on the street in public, and then by the last episode, spoiler alert, he kills her.
Mm-hmm.
That's there's no way to. I don't even know what to say about that. This is the character, and this is the story. That's the book as well.
Sure. Doesn't sound like so much of a love story, but
right. And I stopped him and I said, I don't think this is a love story, but assuming that it is for a moment, what do you think this says about love? And he paused. And it was a great pause because it was the pause that got me. And he said, I'm not sure, but I think we'll discover that together. And ultimately, I do think what I've discovered is that I believe the power of collaboration can actually change something and transmute something. And I think a show, which everyone was thinking about, which is why I believe they cast me. They've essentially said this, like, because I'm so... not this guy. Of course, no one is this guy. They're not going to be casting a psychopath serial killer, but...
Let's go through the California state prison system for an actor who's actually...
But, what they saw in me, what I think they wanted was somebody who wasn't going to lean into the most insidious parts of this character unnecessarily. And so I think what I've really learned is that you can change things through collaboration. Through what I mean is like digging in, investing.
Yeah.
I think what I struggled with in my 20s was sort of a cynicism, a very powerful film of cynicism around all the roles that I had, and feelings of contempt, for the industry, for producers, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm. And I still have a little of those.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's my default. It's my default. If I'm having a rough day, haven't slept enough, whatever it is, like I will always default to that. But, I think our goal in life is to stop defaulting and to like become less automatic in our responses to everything. And so for me, I've learned the most through this role, and I'm still, to be honest, I'm still struggling how to articulate what it is that I've learned, because it just ended. Like, it just ended a few weeks ago.
Wow, just ended.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Again, I don't even really know. I don't have enough perspective yet.
Yeah.
I haven't even, it hasn't come out yet. I haven't done the press for it. I think that's when I'll start to.
Right. Once it airs, and like you can.
When I really start to do something else.
Yeah.
Truly.
It was interesting with The Office because we ended after 9.5 seasons or so. And when we ended, we were not very popular. People weren't really watching network TV. Our numbers had been going down, down, down. Even before Steve Carell left, we were really less.
I didn't recall that.
Yeah.
It's so big now.
But that's the thing. But there weren't streaming services then when this ended. And maybe Netflix was just starting to percolate along, but it really was gone. And I didn't get bothered that much for Dwight, and it wasn't. So it really was like, oh, that chapter is behind me.
Interesting.
In 2014, 2015. And then I did some other roles, and some things worked and some things didn't. And I was kind of struggling to find my next path as an actor or whatever. And then all of a sudden I would be at a coffee shop and 12-year-olds were like, Dwight, can I have a picture? I'm like, what the hell is going on? And it had started the Netflix phenomena. So that had revived the show. It was well considered, and a lot of people had watched it, but they had watched it as like Thursday night TV.
Sure.
And then some people bought DVDs, but then that was it.
Yeah.
There were some reruns, syndicated reruns out there on Comedy Central if you really looked, but it was gone. It was done. It was buried for several years before 2018. It came on and became more popular than it ever had. So it was a weird kind of phoenix from the ashes.
But wasn't it still because it's kind of like, isn't it the biggest show? Its spot is really rare and special, right? Isn't it like the biggest?
But that has to do with streaming.
That is streaming.
When it was on the air in our hit several years, 3 or 4 years, we were, a top 10, 20 show and a top comedy on NBC. But then by the time we were done, we were like 40 or 50th down in the Nielsen ratings. But it was, billions of hours watched, or billions of minutes watched for The Office is up there with like The Sopranos
wow,
or Breaking Bad.
Is that when like all the merchandise started? Because I feel like I was pitching some shows on the NBC lot like last summer, I think, and I saw some toys of you, and I think there was only you. I think it was like only the Dwight Schrute, like little you like press them and they fall down and they come up. You know what I'm talking about?
I haven't even seen that one.
It's like or maybe it was a bobblehead. It was just something where I thought, man, Rain.
Kartik, get me one of those little string thingies.
It's such a rare thing.
Yeah, people send me all the time my face on all kinds of products, and it astounds me. Someone sent me. They went to a fabric store. There was a roll of fabric with my face on it. I know that didn't get approval from NBC Universal. So, do I send out a cease and desist to the fabric store, or do I be flattered that somewhere someone is going to upholster their couch with my face all over it? They're going to be sitting on my face. That's what she said. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Yeah.
Let's get back to You. You is wrapping up, final season. There's a new chapter ahead of you.
Yeah.
You've got Ninth Mode Productions, but a bunch of things in development. what's next on your journey? Where's this taking you?
Yeah, so there's a screenplay that I'm writing, which I'll not even summarize until it's real, and which I intend to direct. So there's that. I directed the 9th episode of the 4th season of my show You, which was a great experience. Really, at heart, I'm more of a director and a writer, not necessarily a writer and director. That's a specific thing that I may only try 1 or 2 times. So I want to try my hand at those things professionally, more.
And what issues do you want to take on your kind of spiritual, artistic Hollywood journey?
You know what I think? What I'm learning the most about is like love and sexuality. In my own life, that's been sort of somehow what I've learned the most about, where I've struggled the most. The sort of shows and films I'm known for, either consciously, like in my current show, which is kind of cool. It's like we're consciously representing toxic misconceptions of love in order to say something about that. Or, in the case of other things I've been a part of, it's like trying to say it in a way that's even more mature than I've said in the past. And I don't know. You've seen Gossip Girl. If you haven't, you can go ahead and watch it. What is that saying about love?
Yeah.
To young people.
Yeah.
What is the average person watching that show gleaning, whether they want to or not?
If aliens were looking down on planet Earth
and they saw Gossip Girl,
scouring media, I'm not kidding, and watching Gossip Girl,
what would they think?
And
they would be like, why don't these 6 people just take a break from each other? Can one of them say sorry? Just say it and then stop hanging out.
The Soul Boom Podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you get your stupid podcasts.